Hey guys, how's it going? Master Cal here, and today I'm going to be doing the 7th video of my 2021 NFL offseason preview series, which will be for the Detroit Lions. So, the Lions finally moved on from Matt Patricia along with GM Bob Quinn following a third straight bad season by those two running the show. And so now it will be Dan Campbell coming over from the New Orleans Saints. He had previously been the Miami Dolphins interim coach, I think, back in 2015. And then also Brad Holmes coming from the Los Angeles Rams front office to be the next GM. The Lions have already made one big move so far this offseason, as it sounds like they will be looking for a teardown and to see if maybe they can finally get it right and get themselves back into relevancy. So here are the starters. At quarterback, it's Matthew Stafford, the number 1 overall pick back in 2009, who's been with the Lions for 12 years. Those days are now over, however, as Stafford has been traded to the Los Angeles Rams. In exchange, the Lions will net Rams starter Jared Goff along with first-round picks down the line in 2022 and 2023, along with a third-round pick in this upcoming draft. So Stafford bounced back from a injury-shortened 2019 season and had another solid statistical year, and now Stafford will have a chance to chase a Super Bowl ring with Sean McVay and the Rams. While Goff started off the 2020 season well, having a bounce-back year from a disappointing 2020 season. However, he struggled down the stretch, lost some key games late, and then suffered a thumb injury that forced the Rams to start John Wolford in a do-or-die playoff game, and then the Rams were impressed by how Wolford handled himself. And then immediately, pretty much after the Rams season ended, there were reports that Goff and McVay needed marriage counseling, but ultimately they decided to move on and go for what they perceive as an upgraded quarterback in Stafford. So Goff is going to be the Lions starter for the time being. It doesn't rule out the Lions selecting a quarterback in this next draft, potentially, but for better or for worse, Goff is the starter this year. And if he works out, then the Lions have a franchise quarterback. I think he's just 25, 26 years old right now, so he's definitely a long-term answer if it works out. Otherwise, the Lions can get out of Goff's contract after just 2 years. I don't know the exact math of how that affects both teams' cap situations at the moment. At running back is Kerryon Johnson, who was a second-rounder by Detroit in 2018 out of Auburn, who has definitely shown some flashes, but he's struggled to stay healthy. And last year, he was buried in the depth chart behind Adrian Peterson, and then last year's second-round pick, DeAndre Swift. And Swift seems poised to be the lead back at the moment with Peterson a free agent, so we will see what the Lions do. I could see the Lions trading Johnson at the trade deadline if they like rolling with Swift, or if they add somebody else, so we'll see about that. Taylor Deckert, left tackle, first rounder in 2016 out of Ohio State. He signed a contract extension with the Lions last offseason, and he played every single snap for them. Joe Dahl at left guard. Dahl played pretty much every single snap in 2019. However, last year he lost his hold on the starting job, and he could be a release candidate. Frank Ragnow, first rounder in 2018 out of Arkansas, is at center, and he has been a pretty good contributor there for them. And I'd imagine the Lions are going to pick up his fifth-year option and could maybe discuss an extension down the line. Jonah Jackson started every game, I believe, as a rookie, third rounder out of Ohio State with some solid enough results. We'll see if he can continue to grow in year 2. And then Halapoulivaati Vaitai, not a great first season in Detroit, as coming over from Philadelphia, where he was a very good backup, and then he signed a 5-year deal to be the Lions' starting right tackle, but he missed some time due to injuries, and his play was closer to average than good. So we'll see if he can bounce back in the second year. I'm doing this a bit different for wide receivers because the Lions only had 2 wide receivers under contract when the season ended. So I'm going to list 2 wide receivers and 2 tight ends. So Quintez Cephus was a 5th-rounder for Detroit in 2020 who saw some action as a rookie. And then Geronimo Allison, former Packers slot receiver, is back. Allison did not play for the Lions last year after signing a 1-year deal because he opted out. And then their 2 tight ends are Jesse James and TJ Hawkinson. James obviously is known from his days with the Pittsburgh Steelers. However, his playing time has decreased every single year since his height in 2017, and he probably seems like a release candidate given that Hawkinson played far more snaps than James did, and Hawkinson was selected to the first Pro Bowl of his career, which, Hawkinson had an okay-ish rookie season. Like, he had a really good first game, and then he was quiet after that, and then his season ended early with a concussion. But in his second season, he definitely established himself. He didn't exactly light it up on fire, but he definitely had a very good year and was a Pro Bowl selection again. So the Lions are happy to have him. Over to the defensive side, you got Trey Flowers, who's in the third year of that 5-year contract he signed with the Lions in the 2019 offseason, who obviously he followed Matt Patricia over from New England to Detroit over there. Yes, safe to say he's overpaid at his position. Defensive tackle, you got Nicholas Williams and Danny Shelton. Both of them were signed to 2-year deals last offseason. Unfortunately, neither of them fared very well, as the Lions' run defense was one of the worst in the NFL, so both of those guys could easily be released. And then Julian Akwara is the projected other starting defensive end. He was highly regarded coming out of Notre Dame, but he barely played as a rookie. At linebacker, you got Jamie Collins, who Collins had a career revival year with the Patriots in 2019, and that led to a 3-year deal with the Lions in 2020 with mixed results. He wasn't as good as 2019 in New England, but he was better than in 2018 with the Cleveland Browns. And his contract is not really movable, so he's with the Lions next year most likely. Christian Jones is their other linebacker. He plays more on special teams than on defense. And then Jelani Tavai, second rounder in 2019 out of Hawaii, who has yet to carve out a very consistent role, but he's made some plays so far. In the secondary is Desmond Trufant, former first-round pick of the Falcons in 2013. Atlanta cut him last offseason, and he signed a 2-year deal with the Lions. Unfortunately, he missed a lot of the season due to injury and didn't play all that well when he was healthy, so he winds up being a failed signing. Fortunately, he can be released fairly easily. Jeff Okudah, a third overall pick last year out of Ohio State, the best corner easily in the draft. Unfortunately, he didn't quite live up to those expectations, and he also missed time because of injuries. The good news is, I guess, is that there wasn't another corner taken in 2020 that really stood out either. It's still early for Okudah, and rookie defensive backs do sometimes tend to struggle at the game or at the NFL. The hope again is that he will develop over the next couple of years. And then Justin Coleman in the slot. Coleman had a solid first year in Detroit last year, but like the other two guys, he also missed time due to injuries, and I think he might have had COVID too, which cost him some time. So the Lions corners just could not stay healthy, and what was a solid unit that I thought on paper entering the season wound up being a weakness, mostly because of the injuries. At safety is Tracy Walker, who hasn't quite broken out yet. Like, he's been a solid but not great player for them. And then Will Harris, third rounder in 2019 out of Wake Forest. Harris's defensive snaps, I think, actually decreased from 2019 to 2020 as he was the third safety. The Lions don't have any special teams players under contract for the time being. They're all some kind of free agent, so we'll get to those guys in a second. So looking at their free agents, wide receiver Marvin Jones Jr., defensive end Everson Griffin, obviously longtime Minnesota Viking. He was traded from Dallas to Detroit last season at the deadline. Wide receiver Danny Amendola, starting safety Deron Harmon, kicker Matt Prater, defensive end Romeo Okwara, Julian's brother. Romeo had a really good breakout season and had a double-digit sack season, so he could very well be a guy that's in high demand this offseason as for teams needing pass rush help. Linebacker Gerard Davis, a first-round disappointment by the Lions in 2017. Cornerback Daryl Roberts, I know him from his days with the Jets. He had a couple good games with New York, but was disappointing as a full-time starter, and he was mostly a backup for the Lions last year. Safety Miles Killebrew, Long snapper Don Molback, who's on the open market for the second straight offseason. Wide receiver Mohamed Sanu, who bounced around the league last year after being released by the Patriots out of camp. He was with the Niners for a bit, and then he was with the Lions for a bit. Running back Adrian Peterson, who still plans on playing. Peterson said he wants to keep playing until he's 40 years old, and that his personal goals are to A, win a Super Bowl, and B, have the most rushing yards all time by any running back ahead of Emmitt Smith. Guard Ode Abushi, who took Dahl's starting job. Cornerback Tony McRae. Linebacker Reggie Ragland, who won a Super Bowl with the Chiefs in 2019. Wide receiver Kenny Golladay. There's been conflicting reports about what the Lions are going to do with Golladay, if they're just going to let him walk, if they're going to franchise tag him, if they're going to try to sign him to a long-term deal. If they franchise tag him, do they keep him and sign him to a deal, or do they look to trade him? There were some reports that Galladay's relationship with the front office and with the organization as a whole kind of soured, which could make the tag and trade scenario a very likely possibility, but we will see. Golladay unfortunately missed a lot of the season because of injury. Next up would be linebacker Jalen Reeves-Maybin. Cornerback Mike Ford is a restricted free agent. Cornerback / wide receiver Jamal Agnew. He's been kind of their kick returner the past few years, and the Lions tried to convert him from corner to wide receiver, but it didn't really work out that well. Fullback Jason Kabinda is an exclusive rights free agent. Punter Jack Fox, who had a really good season last year, is an exclusive rights free agent, so the Lions will definitely look to bring him back. And then offensive tackle Matt Nelson is an exclusive rights free agent. So the Lions currently have just $6.2 million in cap space, and again, that is before the Stafford-Goff trade is made official. So I don't really know exactly how that math kind of works. I know that the Lions saved $14 million by trading Stafford, but that's going to be offset by the money they take on by absorbing what's remaining of Goff's contract. So the positions of need for the Lions, well, they've already solved the quarterback situation, at least for now, with Goff. So definitely wide receiver is a glaring need, considering their top three wide receivers, Golladay, Jones, and Amendola, are all free agents. So getting legitimate weapons that Jared Goff can throw to is definitely a big need. Defensive line, because again, Shelton and Williams will probably get released, and also they might lose their best pass rusher in Romeo Okwara. And then cornerback as well is also going to be a need. They'll want to get more consistency there. I would also throw out maybe another offensive lineman could be a position of need, and maybe another linebacker. So as far as the cap casualties go, Joe Dahl will probably get released by the Lions for probably $2 to $3 million in cap savings. The Lions can try to sign a replacement elsewhere. They could re-sign Abushi, or they could give 2020 fourth round pick Logan Stenberg a chance to win the starting job. He was mostly a healthy scratch as a rookie. They could cut Geronimo Allison. It wouldn't really save them a lot in cap space, though. There have been quite a few players that have been cut by their team that opted out last year, like the Bills' TJ Carey, for example. So we'll see if they cut him and bring him back or something. Jesse James is probably going to get released for about $4 to $5 million in cap savings. Williams and Shelton will combined get about $10 million saved. Christian Jones is another couple million. And then Trufant and Coleman probably combined are close to about 12 to 15 million in cap space. So the Lions do have ways to free up cap space, which they will need if they do end up franchising Golladay. And so we'll keep an eye on Galladay's situation for that. So that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you'll stay tuned for the next off-season preview video.